We're going to be taking a look at Delta here on the weekly chart. Actually, we're going to look at a couple airlines, but first we're going to look at Delta on the weekly chart. You can see that basically we held this 50-day SMA. I know that we did get a pullback below that this past week, but we closed above it. So let's see this week if we can hold that line and then start working our way higher back up into this 9-day EMA. So that 50-day SMA is trading at 57.89. If we do continue this green trend that we're on with this big green candle of volume, hopefully we can stay above this and then work our way back up to that 9-day EMA, and that's going to be trading at that 65 handle. On the downside in here, we adjusted our overall structure. So the low that came in this week, this is now going to be our lower trend line of this overall structure for now. That's going to be trading right at that $55 mark. Anything outside of there, we're going to be looking at 53.79, and then down here right around that 49.32. So if this does hold, look for a bounce here off this lower trend line. But if not, then that's where we're going to be ending up. But hopefully we can get a nice pop off of this 50-day SMA and work ourselves back up to that 9-day EMA and then fill this overall intraday gap that came back here just a few weeks ago. Now, as far as our resistances go outside of that 9-day EMA, obviously we're looking up here at that 69, then we're watching 75, but really in between where we are right now, 58 and that 65 level with that 9-day EMA, we're going to be really watching right here, the 61.80 to the 62 area. That is going to be where all our weight is right here. You can see, look how much of a resistance this was back in August, going all the way through October. So it's not necessarily that $60 psych level, which is going to be marking right around here. It's really going to be that $62 area because we're going to overshoot that $60 range. So really it's going to be that 62 area that's going to be causing us the most trouble, and look for a place for us to kind of set up shop in between where we're trading and that 9-day EMA. That 62 is going to be the place. Now, as far as our implied volatility go, everything is elevated throughout the markets, and Delta is no exception. IV ranking here sitting at 47. $4 expected move priced in by this Friday, the following Friday, right around 525. And you have earnings coming up at the beginning of April. So we're going to see how all the airlines did for this first quarter of this new year. They're going to start reporting, and that could give us a tip of what could come as we work our way into summer and the vacation season. Also on the weekly chart, we're going to take a look at American Airlines in here. Our IV in American Airlines is elevated quite some bit, as well as Delta and basically the overall market, like we mentioned. And look at these red candles in here, 5 red candles on the weekly chart in a row. It seems like every time we talk about this stock, we think, oh, well, it can't get any worse, right? It's going to hold this 200 SMA. It's going to hold a 9-day EMA. It's going to hold a 50. Doesn't hold any moving averages at all. And this thing has just basically more or less collapsed back on itself ever since those lows that came back in here in April. We had that nice big run up and then just kind of collapsed and kind of took all those gains out that we did make from the overall past year. So going forward, what are we looking at? Well, the $10 level, that 1030 is going to be key for us. That's basically where we're sitting on right now. If that cannot hold, then we're looking down here right around that 997 to that $10 psych level for a bounce. If we cannot get one there, then we're going to chalk it up to that 913 level that's trading all the way down here. And this was a low that came back in April. If we do get a little bounce in here off of these 1030s, then our next stop up in our resistance is going to be this $11 level. And then anything outside of that, we're looking at that $12 level. And then we can worry about all our moving averages right here. You can see they're all starting to get kind of jumbled up. But overall expansion on our Bollinger Bands, you can see that we do need to tighten up. So perhaps a little bit of a stay down here before we get a run up, just kind of get this RSI completely oversold, get our volume back down here to where it is back to average volume. And then we can get a nice little run is what we're looking for. But if not, if we just get a nice little pop in here, then we'll take that too. But overall, it is not looking good. Still in a downtrend overall. Still just basically giving up on itself ever since we had that nice big move from April into the new year here. Basically just gave everything back up, and now we're trading back here at the $10 range. Our IV ranking here is sitting at 51. We have a 70-cent expected move priced in by this Friday, the following Friday, right around $1. We have earnings coming up at the end of April for American Airlines, so perhaps some good news overall in the airlines would give us some I guess a little bit more hope as we go into the summer, and a nice little pop in American Airlines, and we can kind of get this thing back where it is tradable. But for now, it looks like we're just going to be sitting down here for a while, perhaps little short spikes here and there, but it looks like between 10 and 11, we're going to be stuck here for a little bit before we get a pop out of this. So we'll see what happens overall in Delta and American Airlines, and we're going to keep track of what's going on in the world and the overall markets as it correlates with our airline industry. So let's see what happens as we open up the new weekend here for Delta and American Airlines. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We also have a Discord service if you are interested, and you can find all of our socials in the description below.